What's up everyone and welcome to another Warframe video. With the latest mainline there were a bunch of changes to Arcane's, shield gating was introduced, some general survivability changes to some frames that had no armor whatsoever. So naturally, a bunch of frames changed quite a bit and some new builds opened up. One of the best so far and one of the most fun builds I have ever played is this new one for Banshee Prime. Banshee is a frame that has always been good. Never really found her role in most squads. She amplifies damage to huge levels, has an AoE stun, fantastic knockdown on her 1, but in general her survivability meant that by the time the damage amplification was really needed, she was way too squishy to ever make much use out of it other than hiding in a corner and sitting behind the rest of her team. However, the recent changes have meant that she has some new options of survivability, and without making her a pain to play. So what change that we're going to be using? Well, honestly, the base armor and the shield gating are things that change that are nice, but actually not that crucial to the build. The huge change that we're going to be making the most out of is the huge buff to Arcane Ultimatum. At rank 5, it now has a 100% chance to give you 1,200 armor for 45 seconds when you do a finisher. Yeah, that's right. Guaranteed double old Arcane Guardian's worth of armor for 45 seconds on a finisher. Combine this with Savage Silence, and you have an easy way to open to finisher as part of your normal gameplay. Something that feels really good to use. What's even better is you can combine this with Arcane Guardian for a 15% chance for another 900 armor for 20 seconds. Problem with Guardian now is it's a bit unreliable, especially since it cannot be refreshed while it is active. However, when you do have both active, you end up with 2,100 armor from the Arcanes alone on Banshee, a frame who has been notoriously squishy for the longest time. Let's dive quickly into the build before we talk about playstyle and how you can get the most out of her. I will warn you, it's a bit of a crazy one, but it is one that you're going to be able to really customize to suit your needs and to see what you're doing with her. So the aura is still charged. Without Umbral Former, this is really required for capacity reasons, since as you can see, triple Umbral setup with adaptation is a very pricey amount of survivability and really ties us into that steel charge. The Umbral Fiber is more there to buff both Vitality and Intensify, rather than for her base armor, but still, 365 modded armor is actually not terrible, so it's not like it's actually a wasted mod. Then we got 3 augments. Yup, you heard me right, 3 augments. I've said about Banshee in the past, she's a load of really good augments I want to use, and now we have the perfect reason to. Sonic Fracture is going to strip the entirety of the armor off of targets. With this build, now that Corrosive is no longer a full strip, only 80%, this is actually a bit of an indirect buff for the augments that actually will strip entirety of the armor. And that actually even works on bosses like Jackal, for example. Resonance to keep reapplying our sonar provided we kill using the weak spots. That's amazing team synergy here too, since your teammates can spread the sonar spots too. And Savage Silence opens enemies up to finishers when they're affected by the stun on silence, which works really nicely with our Arcane Ultimatum. The final mod slot's kind of up for debate here. I've got Rage on here to generate some energy while I take damage. Until really high level though, you don't take that much damage. Definitely not enough to have Rage really do much at all. So there's a couple of changes you can do to make the build, just to change the build and suit the way you play, and also around what you're doing. Switch out Rage for Streamline, for example, for a bit of efficiency. You could switch out Sonic Fracture if you don't feel you need that and run both Rage and Streamline. You could switch Guardian out for Energize, but that is going to make you a bit squishier. You could run Zenuric for energy regen when you Void Dash. Exodia Brave on your heavy attack Zor is also incredible for energy generation too, and you can actually find the video to the heavy attack Nikana in the description below. In the footage I actually combined both Brave and Zenuric because I'm a bit of a spammer with my abilities, especially Sonar, and at that level Rage was doing some work too. but at lower levels, you might need some more energy generation, probably energize. So with all that said and done, how do I feel was the best way to play this? Well, at lower levels, as in before sortie, I felt that keeping your 3 turned off and your ultimatum not procced was actually a good way to keep rage working for you, and relying on Guardian to be our damage reduction. Once I moved into sortie levels and above, I started using the stun from my 3 to take some of the fire off of me, at least for a short time. Best thing about the duration of the silence is that it's actually shorter than ultimatum's 45 seconds, which means that while it's easy to forget to do something to proc on Arcane normally, especially if you're relying on, like, Naramon for example, to open up to a finisher, every time you recast silence, just do a finisher. Work that in as part of your power casting rotation, and it means that you end up with ultimatum procced at all times and you just don't forget to do it. Sonar is also something you're going to want to keep up at all times. The amazing thing about Sonar is it causes you to be able to do something you can't often do. Take something other than a melee weapon into high level content. Normally by this point in the video, most weapons are starting to fall off pretty hard, whereas Sonar keeps you going so much longer. Combining Sonar with a weapon that takes full advantage of something that's easy to hit the spots, that works brilliantly, like the catch moon you're seeing in the footage. Ignis works well, Emberlist. I'm sure there are others I can't think of right now too. Arcaplasmor. It works as your enemy radar as well, which is nice because at higher levels you aren't going to have any Sentinel because it exploded. So keeping Sonar up and spreading works amazingly well to replace that Animal Instinct from your dead Sentinel. Then when you get to high level, enemy armor, despite the new scaling curve, do still get incredibly tanky. Especially heavy units like Bombards, Napalms, Heavy Gunners, as well as the Eximus units. Using your 1 to not only knock them down and knock down dangerous units like those, but also stripping all of their armor to allow you to one-shot them, it's incredible and a huge boost to your damage output on top of your own Sonar spots. Melee weapon, I'd recommend that Heavy Nikana I did a video on a while back. Not only does it mean you can use Arcane Brave, which is amazing for the energy generation, but you can also combine it with the Daikyu and the Amalgam mod for that. So not only does Savage Silence work for opening up for finishes for Ultimatum, but also those finishes and also every single melee attack with the Amalgam Daikyu also give you a full heal, which is amazing for sustained health regen at higher levels, and that means you don't have to rely on Operator Arcane at all for healing. Warframe is, for me, at its best when there is tons of synergy coming together to form something that is not only really powerful, but incredibly fun at the same time. This Banshee build is some of the most amount of fun I've had in the game in a very long time. 3 abilities, 1, 2 and 3, all augmented, all working together with some incredible synergy with the frame, with the weapons, all being used in one situation or another. You have to manage your timers, you have to manage your energy, you have to either shoot accurately or use weapons that synergize well with Sonar. There's a lot of thought that goes into playing the build, especially if you're running the energized build. She is still kind of squishy, as I'm going to show in a bonus clip at the end of the video. But the best thing about it is that the thought that goes into playing her really does pay off in her power level. But not only that, the build does have room to cater it to your personal preference depending on your playstyle. Banshee has always been a very well designed frame that's useful either solo or in squads, but never had the survivability to really take advantage of it. Now, because of the Arcane changes in the mainline, combined with her abilities and augments, she has gained that survivability she so badly needed. I would go so far as to say she is one of the top frames in the game right now, and I for one am going to be playing her a heck of a lot more. So I hope you enjoyed my look at an updated Banshee Prime build. Let me know what you think of it and what you're thinking of the mainline changes now the dust has settled a bit. I apologise for the lack of content recently, had a bunch of stuff going on in my personal life, so things are a little bit all over the place. However, I'll have more videos soon, but for now, many thanks for watching, smash that like button if you enjoyed the video, sub for more Warframe content, and I shall see you in the next one.
To infinity and beyond!